Imagine a world where the ground beneath our feet awakens in a symphony of destruction. What if every volcano on Earth, all 1,500 active ones, erupted at the exact same moment? The immediate aftermath would be catastrophic. A thick, choking blanket of ash and volcanic gas would spread across the globe, shrouding the planet in a perpetual twilight. Sunlight, the very source of life, would be blocked out. This would trigger a dramatic and devastating plunge in global temperatures, a phenomenon known as a volcanic winter. Within the first 6 months, temperatures could fall by as much as 15 degrees Celsius. The world would be plunged into a deep artificial winter, far colder than any we have ever experienced. Photosynthesis, the process that sustains most life on Earth, would grind to a halt. Crops would fail on a global scale, leading to widespread famine and the collapse of our food chains. The ash wouldn't just block the sun, it would also contaminate our water supplies. Rivers, lakes, and reservoirs would become toxic, undrinkable slurries of ash and chemicals. Acid rain, a corrosive downpour of sulfuric acid, would become a daily reality. This would decimate forests, poison soils, and make it impossible for new life to grow. The air itself would become a hazard. Volcanic ash, composed of tiny, sharp particles of rock and glass, would cause severe respiratory problems for anyone who breathes it in. The sheer weight of the ash would be enough to collapse buildings and infrastructure. Entire cities would be buried, their skylines erased from the map. The volcanic gases, particularly sulfur dioxide, would have a profound effect on our atmosphere. This would lead to further cooling and a prolonged period of darkness. While the initial cooling would be severe, the massive release of carbon dioxide from the eruptions would eventually have the opposite effect. Over the long term, this would contribute to a runaway greenhouse effect. The oceans would not be spared. The increased carbon dioxide would lead to ocean acidification, threatening marine life and the delicate ecosystems that depend on it. The combination of darkness, cold, and toxic air would trigger a mass extinction event. Many species, unable to adapt to the new, harsh reality, would disappear forever. Human civilization, as we know it, would cease to exist. Survivors would be forced to live in a dark, cold, and toxic world, struggling for the most basic necessities. The global economy would collapse. Trade, communication, and travel would become impossible. The interconnected world we live in would be a distant memory. The psychological toll on survivors would be immense. The loss of loved ones, the constant struggle for survival, and the bleakness of the new world would be a heavy burden to bear. But even in this desolate landscape, there might be pockets of life. Some organisms, particularly those living in deep-sea vents, might survive the initial cataclysm. Over thousands of years, the Earth would slowly begin to heal. The ash would settle, the atmosphere would clear, and life would once again find a way to flourish. New species would evolve, adapted to the changed world. The planet would be reborn, but it would be a very different place from the one we know today. The legacy of the great eruption would be written in the rock, a permanent reminder of the day the Earth unleashed its full fury. While the scenario of all volcanoes erupting at once is highly unlikely, it serves as a stark reminder of the immense power of our planet. It highlights the delicate balance of our climate and the fragility of the ecosystems that support us. Understanding these powerful forces is not just a matter of scientific curiosity. It is a crucial part of ensuring our own survival. For in the end, we are all inhabitants of this dynamic and sometimes dangerous planet, and our future is inextricably linked to its own. Volcanic eruptions would release unimaginable amounts of energy, equivalent to millions of nuclear bombs detonating simultaneously across the globe. Seismic waves from the eruptions would trigger massive earthquakes worldwide, causing further destruction to whatever infrastructure remained standing. Tsunamis generated by underwater volcanic eruptions would devastate coastal regions, adding another layer of catastrophe to the already dire situation. Yet through all this destruction, Earth would continue its journey through space, indifferent to the chaos unfolding on its surface. This thought experiment reminds us that we are temporary stewards of a planet that has existed for billions of years and will continue long after we are gone. So while we hope such a catastrophic event never occurs, Understanding these scenarios helps us appreciate the delicate balance that makes life on Earth possible and inspires us to protect our remarkable planet for generations to come.